It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Mania Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys understand the reference, man. Mania Monday, Wrestlemania was this weekend. If you guys are fans of wrestling like I know I am, I know Chase is, and a good bit of our listeners are too. Hopefully you guys got to enjoy the event. I know I threw down a little bit. I just was joking with Chase about it, man. I had it posted on my story. I was proud of it. It's been a minute since I had to whip out the Traeger, but man, I had the wings going. I had some Kaneka sausage on there, some burgers, and it was awesome. And then of course, can't forget the Rotel dip. I'll try to put up a picture on the stream here in a minute, but man, I made my mom's famous Rotel dip, man, and that was amazing. Then Sunday, Chase, I had to cap it off with some loaded tots. I don't know if you guys got to see the second story. I know everybody's like, "Does this guy think he's a chef now?" No, I don't. But I was proud, man. It's about the presentation, man, the different colors. I can't remember where I learned that. I had to take a couple of nutrition classes when I was in school because, I am a kinesiology major. So learn, it's about the color. So I had everything on those tots, man. We had the nacho cheese, the sour cream. We had the green onions, regular diced onions, tomatoes, bacon bits. I mean, I had the whole color spectrum on there. Chase looked amazing and tasted even better. But yeah, man, I had a great weekend watching WrestleMania. Night one, I will say, little underwhelming, Chase. Little underwhelming. Night one was, and I guess I understand you're trying to set up night two, but I was a little nervous. I was like, man, if this was night one, night two they better come correct. And they sure enough, they did. And I got to give a big shout out to our guy, Obafemi, who is one of our own. I don't think we talked about it enough last week, but for you guys that might not be wrestling fans and could not care less about it, at least just know this: if you're a big Alabama fan, we did have one of our own, right, competing in WrestleMania. And a matter of fact, had probably outside of the main event of night two, probably the biggest moment in WrestleMania. He kicked off night number 2 against Brock Lesnar, who we all know is like one of the greatest of all time, really in all combat sports, right? And matter of fact, come to find out, it looks like Oba ended up retiring Brock Lesnar. Now, yes, we know wrestling scripted, so it's not like he just beat the brakes off him and made the dude retire. Like, that's what happened in WWE, of course. But anyway, shout out to Oba, man. This is crazy. Just a few years ago, remember watching the dude, lift weights here. They did a nice little feature on him, Chase. I don't know if you saw this. I saw it on X, I think, yesterday. Somebody had posted it, but they did a nice feature of him, like, walking back into the weight room, and he kind of was talking about his journey coming from Lagos, Nigeria. Shout out to the Nigerians. I'm 22% Nigerian, so I got to claim that right now too. But yeah, he was talking about his time in Alabama and how he got to where he's at. He was a part of their NIL program, and I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy, Chase. I mean, to have your first WrestleMania match and to go out there and defeat Brock Lesnar, and then come to find out you're the one that retires the Beast, Brock Lesnar, man. Yeah, definitely was very special. So shout out to Obafemi. Again, he is an alumni here at the University of Alabama. He threw shot put for the track and field team, was a champion in both indoor and outdoor, multi-time champion. So I guess there's no surprise when you just look at this physical specimen out there and how good he's doing. But I think when you know about wrestling, you understand it's not just about what you do physically, man. It's about your character. It's about, your abilities to speak on the mic, right, to sell and put butts and seats, and he's doing just that, man. I mean, he's probably had like the quickest rise, I think, out of any WWE superstar that I've seen in probably years. Now, granted, I'm not that old. I haven't been watching for that long, I guess, but still very impressive stuff. But that wasn't the only stuff that was going on over the weekend, Chase, that definitely had a lot of people talking. We'll talk about this here in a minute, probably relatively soon. We actually tuned into this clip, right? Last week, I saw that, Ty Simpson had joined Caleb Downs' podcast that he does with his brother. And we pulled it up and we listened to a couple of the clips. I know we listened to the part where he compared, Coach Kalen DeBoer to Nick Saban, who also had a big surprise appearance at the Morgan Wallen con. So there's a lot of stuff that went on this weekend. Sure you guys have seen that, man. Coach Saban was, in fact, the one that walked out Morgan Wallen. Probably, the best pick he could definitely get, man. The reaction that it got. Now, I didn't go to the concert. Shout out to my neighbors, man. They offered me some tickets, but, obviously we had our Wrestlemania plans. But no, I saw it over social media, and I was like, that's cool. But anyway, so that was big going on. But however, back to this video we're talking about. We listened to a little bit of it, and we even heard this part where Ty had mentioned the Indiana game and kind of gave his analysis of what went down, right? What happened in that Indiana game where we got beat down 38-3 by the Hoosiers, who went on to be undefeated national champions. Now, when we listened to it, we gave our opinions and we walked away from it kind of just thinking like, well, Ty was honest, and the fact that he mentioned that schematically he had a good idea for what was going on, it really just reiterates that we really just got our butts whooped, right? That was kind of the main takeaway that we got, which really is a compliment to Indiana, their defense, their execution, and everything they did to beat not only Alabama, but Oregon in a lopsided fashion, then go on to beat another really good football team in Miami to ultimately be crowned national champions. So all that was great, but we kind of put it behind us because it wasn't really that big of a deal, right? It just was, all right, here we go. If anything, I kind of was more disappointed, like, all right, between the Kyle Green's comments and now these comments, it's like, dang, man, you said you knew what was coming, but then what happened? It's almost like, are we overlooking our opponents? Like, what are we doing? We gotta make sure we're getting back in a habit of, man, really just being locked in, dialed in, execution, all that. I'll get to this in a minute. However, over the weekend, Chase, that whole thing blew up, man. It blew up. And the reason it blew up, it wasn't really because the clip just happened to start circulating more by its own. In fact, it had the help of Indiana's defensive coordinator, right? Brian Haynes, who I guess he finally got his hands on the clip, or I should say his eyes. And he allegedly perceived it a little bit different than even we did when we first heard it. Like I said, when I first heard it, it was more so, all right, Ty just admitted we pretty much got our butt whooped. We knew that. We watched the tape. We broke that game down probably twice now. We understood the assignment. But Brian Haynes, I guess, had other plans because he wasn't just going to let it fly, Chase. He had to respond. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to get to my opinion on this in a second. I'm just going to go ahead and warn you guys. Not warn you guys. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. You probably might not like what I have to say about it, but I'm just going to be honest the way I perceived the whole interaction of both of it, because it really went from the defensive coordinator responding with, a quote tweet, offering his opinion on what Ty had to say. And then that snowballed into a big reaction from Alabama's fan base going at him, and then Indiana fans getting into the conversation. Another assistant coach, or maybe weight room assistant, or even just like I don't know, maybe a thing of wide receiver says, I don't know. There's a couple of coaches, at least it seemed, that also chimed in, and more reactions. And then there was even not one tweet, but then there's two, Chase. Then the coordinator, Brian Haynes, doubled down on it. And so that really was outside of Wrestlemania and Morgan Wallen and all this, that really kind of took the cake for the weekend. Now, there were also spring games, which we'll talk a little bit about at some point. I don't know if you guys got to see much of them. I got to see some of them. I didn't watch all of them, all the way through. I'll probably go back and watch a little bit more. But Georgia, they televised their spring game. Shout out to those guys. I'll give them a round of applause. I mean, it's kind of something you don't really see anymore these days. And they had no problem saying, hey, we're going to go put it on TV. And I don't think it was too bad of an idea. They don't have to worry about the transfer portal. And two, I think a lot of people walked away with it by saying, damn, that's a pretty dang good football team. At least that's kind of what I was thinking about some of the things I saw. Yeah, they got some pieces, man. They definitely got some pieces to work with. Ohio State also held a spring game. Another team that you just look like that looks like they're going to be a good football team as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But anyway, first and foremost, we're going to dive into this whole Indiana thing because I want to get y'all's thoughts, and I definitely want to give mine because I learned, man, sometimes tweets, you can't convey your whole message, right? I mean, there's only so many, words that you can put in there, so many letters that it allows you to. And then sometimes I've learned this also. People read things one way. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you're reading something, you don't really hear exactly how it's supposed to sound. And I know, especially with my stance on this, I'm like, man, let me not tweet anything really, because people are going to probably be like, what are you talking about? But again, it's just going to be my opinion. So I wanted to save it for today because I thought it'd be a great topic to talk about. It's a Mania Monday, right? Of course, for Wrestlemania, right? We got Raw after Mania tonight, but also Mania Monday because it's just some mania going on right now between two fan bases, man. Because Chase, this has spiraled even past Ty's comments, the Indiana DC's response. Then it spilled over to the fan bases going back and forth. And now I'm even seeing the media beat writers have beef, man. You got beat reporters for Alabama coming out and accusing Indiana reporters. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you, Chase. It's kind of funny. I shouldn't laugh because I know people are really getting all mad about this. But I'm not the person where I can just sit here and just like things like this. I've just learned, man. I've been through a lot of crap in my life. Some stuff that a lot of people probably would not even it'd be tough for people. I'm at the point where like little things like this. I'm sorry. I just have to find humor in it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, man, like this stuff is just silly, but it does make for good entertainment. So we'll talk about this, but first we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll definitely dive into it, and I'll get y'all's thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts. Again, Ty Simpson just answering a question about Indiana, their football team, and how that game went. Sounded like he meant it in an honest, sincere way, but of course, it seems like Indiana's the defensive coordinator didn't really take it that way. We'll play the clip. We'll respond to it. We'll read all the tweets that come with it, and we'll get y'all's thoughts when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Ty 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. What's up, guys? Who we got in here? Mike, what's up? We got Latoya. What's going on? Army said, I mailed the Indiana defense coordinator 6 months supply of to their practice facility, Amazon, from Ty Simpson. Dwight, we're back. What's up? Yeah, I'm just telling you, I'm going to warn you guys right now. You're probably going to hear my response. You're probably going to get a little frustrated, but hey, man, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. It's really not bad. But I'll just be honest with that. I didn't really perceive it the way most Alabama fans did. And it might sound like I'm defending the guy, but I promise I'm not. I'm just gonna give my honest take on it. G Bama, what's up? Jake, what's going on? Happy Monday. Yeah, welcome Chase back to the stream, man. They got a new little setup, man. It's a little bit clearer, looks good. So we got Chase back on stream, which is cool, man. I know you guys enjoy seeing Chase work behind the glass. I'll let Chase talk a little bit more. Ever since that one comment, somebody was like, "Why is he on there if he doesn't talk?" I'm like, Chase talks. Chase is working. He's producing. It just in that one clip we posted, he just happened to not really be talking much. Let's see. Nick, what's going on, man? Wins with a semi-pro team and talks trash. Listen, and I'm gonna be honest. I think that's part of the reason that Indiana is a little defensive right now. I'll get to that here in a second. What I don't understand is why we're crying about a defensive coordinator that whooped our ass. Look at the score and the performance. Need to start figuring out why and how it happened. Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest with you. I think even just the back and forth that a lot of fans are doing right now is not really serving a good purpose for us, man. You know what I mean? Like, dude's gonna say what he says. You can't control that. But when our fan base is like going back and forth and getting mad about, I mean, I've just always been the type, man. Just keep it pushing, man. Because all you're doing is feeding into it. You know what I mean? And you're making them feel even more empowered by responding to it so much. But again, everybody's entitled to do whatever. I mean, I'm not saying you guys can't do that. Do whatever you please. But I feel what you're saying. At the end of the day, man, you got to just, you know what I mean? Just give respect where it's due. And at the end of the day, they did their thing, man. 38-3. There's no sugarcoating it, man. Given soft behavior, Ricky says. I'm gonna paint a perspective, and maybe it might make sense. You guys probably aren't going to really care because you just kind of are sick and tired of hearing this guy. But I'm gonna paint a perspective, and I think it'll make a little bit more sense where this guy's coming from. And maybe it won't, but at least this is where I'm coming from. Let me pull up this clip and have it ready because we'll be back in like 30 seconds, not even 20 seconds. Let me pull it up real quick because we got to listen to it again. I will say, man, thanks to the defensive coordinator for giving us some good content to talk about. I mean, all seriousness, man. I was like, it's Monday. We got NFL draft. We'll dive into that for sure. But like, man, I wish we had a little bit more substance to go off of. And then, of course, man, this happens. I'm like, oh, perfect. Boom, bingo. Great off-season content. Love it. Love every bit of it. Don't like drama, especially don't want to be involved in it. But I have no problem with covering it if it's good for the show. All right, here we go. And welcome back into this Mania Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's go ahead and get down to business, right? We're going to start here. You guys probably already saw the title on the stream. If you haven't, go check us out on the stream if you get a chance. At the Miller's Edge on YouTube, at the Miller's Edge on X, and of course on the Tide 100.9 Facebook page as well. If you guys prefer to watch us do the show, we got Chase back on camera, man, so you can come hang out with the two of us as we talk some ball and whatever is going on in the sports world. All right, here we go. So we talked about it a little bit last week. It, I guess, kind of blew up over the weekend, and now we're back. Here we are. So let's go ahead and listen to this clip. Just a quick refresher. Former Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson, who is preparing for the NFL draft. I believe he will be attending the draft up in, where's it at? Is it Pittsburgh, right, Chase? I think the draft's in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh.
Yep. So I think he's up there. I mentioned he's going to be up there. So regardless, this was over a week ago. He joined Caleb Downs and his brother on their podcast, and he was basically asked about the Indiana game and if he expected it to go the way it went, which was a 38-3 beatdown. And this is what he had to say.
Was it surprising what they did, or were they as like good of a team as advertised? I mean, they won, so.
I wasn't surprised when they won. After they beat us, we lost to both teams that were in the Natty, so I thought they were going to win that game against Miami. I didn't know how it was going to go against y'all.
From my point of view, right, like, I was like, they don't do much.
Oh, no.
Like, I was like, they do
like
the same thing every down. And so when I got the ball, I knew exactly what was going to happen. They just didn't mess up, bro. They were in the exact same spot they were supposed to be, and they were so well coached. It was so much different than the SEC. SEC, you got, they'll play man. They'll do these unorthodox coverages, because it's just like kind of how it is. That game was crazy to me. Of course, I got hurt, so that was a bummer. But I knew what they were going to do, and we couldn't really run the ball. We didn't really, throw. It just was it was so crazy to me how it happened.
So there you go. It was crazy to him how it happened, Chase. Those were Ty Simpson's words. He said, I knew everything that they were going to do, right? They don't do anything overly complicated. You look at these teams in the SEC and, well, there's a lot of, complex coverages, things. And what we're talking about would be, Coach Saban's system, right? You see a lot of it in the SEC, whether it's Georgia, whoever comes from his tree, and you see the cover 7 system, which consists of a lot of different nuances. It can confuse a quarterback. I mean, it's split field coverage. I get what he's saying. But basically what he said was, hey, I mean, even though I knew all this stuff, we still just couldn't really do anything. Now, he caught himself before he said we couldn't throw the ball because he knew that would kind of make him look bad. He kind of threw his teammates under the bus. He said we couldn't run the ball. We couldn't throw. I had to do it. Then he just stopped. So anyway, besides that, most people would hear that and say, okay, he's complimenting their team. He's basically saying, even though you knew what was coming, the execution was flawless. It was impeccable. There was no holes in what they were doing, to the point where even though we, quote unquote, thought we knew the answers, we couldn't find an answer. So I hear that. I hear what he's saying. But of course, the defensive coordinator for Indiana, he heard it a little bit differently. And let me just read his tweet real quick before I give you guys my thought on this whole, I guess, back and forth. Well, not even back and forth, because Ty never responded to any of this, and I don't think he should. He should be focused on the NFL draft. That's the most important thing for him right now. And clearly, I don't think he meant any ill will with what he was saying. Now, some of these Indiana fans, or I guess the coach, of course, they definitely took it a certain way. But let me pull up the tweet. So this is what Bryant Haynes had to say, Indiana's defensive coordinator. He says, adorable, and I'll put it on the screen for you guys real quick. He says, adorable. We also saw everything they were doing on every single snap. It's just that we exploited those cues and didn't get frozen and crushed by them. So I'll be honest with you. There's some, the commas and the way he worded this. Listen, so football guys, man, listen, you can be intelligent on the football field, which this guy, I believe, is a really smart football coach for sure. And now, in terms of the grammar and stuff he's got going, it's kind of hard to keep up with what he's saying here. But he also even doubled down on it, Chase, because the fans weren't going for it. I mean, fans were losing their head over his comments. Not as Alabama fans. You saw a lot of, I guess, other fans from other fan bases that really didn't take what he said. I mean, they took it as pretty disrespectful. And then he goes on to say, that's all it took to break your entire fan base. Wow, maybe I should have said, boo, no apologies, no compliments. Grow up, folks. He had a bad take, and I said the painful truth. Bounce back better. Hashtag go IU. Hashtag no compliments. All right, Chase. So that's what was said, and that's how Coach Bryant Haynes responded. Again, Indiana's defensive coordinator. Here's my thoughts on this whole thing. Again, I heard this before it really blew up, and I didn't initially hear it and take it as Ty was trying to disrespect Indiana in any way. I didn't take it as Ty trying to, throw slight or shade at Indiana, especially necessarily, I guess, the defensive coordinator. However, after seeing how he took it, Chase, and going back and listening to it and then reading his response to it, he clearly felt offended. And I will go ahead and say this. People probably aren't going to like me saying this or probably disagree with me. That's fine. I can understand actually where he's coming from. That said, I don't think Ty had any intent to be disrespectful, but I could totally see how that could be taken as a backhanded compliment. Here's why. He is the defensive coordinator. He is in charge of implementing and installing that system. That is his system. So on one hand, yes, Ty is saying, listen, their execution was flawless. They are extremely well coached, really good football team. I get all that. But by also saying, like, they don't do anything, complex. They do the same thing. I already knew what they're going to do. Even though Ty is not meaning this at all in that way, I can also understand why the defensive coordinator, whose system it is, would take that in a disrespectful way. Does that make sense, Chase? So I see both sides of it. It honestly probably is a little bit of a miscommunication thing. And I'm going to take it even a step further. I think another reason, and I always believe this, people interpret things based off of kind of, their perspective. That's life, right? You're going to interpret things based off your perspective and your experiences. What has Indiana been hearing all since last season, Chase? You only won because you had older players, right? You only did it because of this. You only did it because of that. Basically, the whole world pretty much trying to discredit what they just did. I've been not one of the few, but I've been one of those people that said, like, my dad comes on, oh, it's because they're old. Dude, at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and you got to go play football games. Other people are allowed to have older players too. Yes, they have some older players on their roster. A lot of those guys came from small schools like JMU. A lot of those players were also available to Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State, but they chose not to recruit those guys. That's on them. But at the end of the day, it's about what you do on the football field. And I said, watching Indiana's tape, there's no denying it. They are an extremely talented football team, not just from a talent standpoint. They might not even be the most talented, I should say. But in terms of their execution, their system, their schematics, there's no denying it. Anybody that knows football can turn on the tape and say that's a damn good football team. They don't mess up much. But it's not even just that, Chase. They're physical, right? They do all the little things right. Hell, I would want my football team to play like that. So just imagine being in their shoes. You go from one of the worst programs ever. I think they were like the losingest program of all time, right? And now they're like number 2, maybe number 3, given they just ran the board. And imagine you doing what they did last year, going undefeated and winning a national championship, beating the likes of Alabama, beating Ohio State, Oregon, Miami in the national championship game, not losing one single game. And you go from being the worst program ever to accomplishing one of the hardest things to do. And imagine the whole world is basically coming up with excuses and saying the only reason you did it is because X, Y, and Z. When you think about it from that perspective, it makes total sense. Of course they're going to be defensive. I would be defensive too. If I just busted my ass for a whole season long and we did all these things, we just got there, we've been there like 2 years, and people are trying to take away from what we just did, I would be a little bit over it too, if I'm being honest with you. Now, that said, I don't believe Ty was trying to like throw shade or slight anybody. I don't. For example, we know how smart Ty is. I think Ty really thought he had it figured out. He clearly didn't. He thought he had it figured out. He did not. If he did, we would not have lost 38-3. Now, I know he got hurt, but before he got hurt, he did not do anything, nor did that Alabama football team. That's just a fact. So I'll end on this point because we got to hit a timeout. Ty didn't mean any shade. We can all agree on that. but I can understand why the defensive coordinator would take offense to somebody basically saying, well, their system is easy. It's not complicated. I already knew what was coming, but they just executed really well. And I'll even go as far as saying this. I disagree with Ty. Maybe in his opinion, but this is what I think he means. He's referring more so to like coverage-wise, Chase, because I watched this game. I broke it down like twice, and I went back and watched it again yesterday and this morning. Ty is right when he says they don't do a whole bunch because they do run a primarily zone-based defense. You see a lot of cover 3, like a lot of it, like majority of their snaps and coverage are playing cover 3. You see some cover 2. They sprinkle in a little bit of man. I saw a couple quarters here and there, but it's a lot of cover 3. So from a coverage perspective, Ty's not necessarily wrong when he says they don't do a whole bunch. Where he is wrong is up front, they do a lot. They do a lot of different pressures. They bring it from all over. You don't know where it's coming. And then even on the back end in the coverage side of things, just because they're not running a whole bunch of different coverages, they're finding different ways to get it. For example, people think cover 3 is just cover 3. Yeah, it is cover 3, but there's different types. You got cover 3 cloud, you got sky, you got buzz, right? They run a lot of cover 3 cloud, meaning that corner that normally regular cover 3, you've got 2 corners as third players and a middle safety, right? Being another deep third in the middle of the part of the field. Cover 3 cloud keeps one of the corners in the flat, right? And now you got 2 safeties working in the third. So basically what I'm getting at is I don't agree with them that it's like their system is just like some easy system to figure out because it's clearly not. It gave all offenses fits all season long. So while they might not run a whole bunch of different stuff, they make it look very different. They do a phenomenal job disguising. We know how good the execution is. And there's little nuances within it that just make it really hard. Like post snap, it looks a lot different. Now I will be honest. If you just look at it and you're saying, all right, man, cover 3. Dang, they run a lot of cover 3. But each time there's like these little things that they do a little bit different. Sometimes they're playing match. Sometimes it's cover 3 cloud. Sometimes it's sky. You know what I mean? So I see both sides of it. And so what I can do is at the end of the show, I'll pull up the tape and show you guys what I mean. But I disagree with Ty when he made it seem like it was just like some simple defense. The end result, there is a lot of similarities. There is a lot of consistency. But what they're doing up front, the offensive line had no clue what was going on. We couldn't block to save our lives. Not even just from a physicality standpoint, but all the run stunts that we're doing, they plug backers, they're bringing edge pressures. I could see why he got offended because their system is the way it was painted by Ty, not intentionally, but the way it was painted was as if their system just some vanilla basic system, which is his system. Me as a defensive guy, I disagree. It's not that. It was one of the best systems in college football. Even if and don't hit me with they got older players. If you brought young players in running that system, I'm telling you that system is effective for a reason. And it's not because they just have all these old men running around. And again, last but not least, just look at some of the players, man. Again, JMU type players. They go from that to what they just did in college football. They're going to be defensive. Pons. People talked about him being undersized, this and that. He can't play this. Look at Pons, man. He's a dog. That's the type of mindset those guys have. So, I get it's frustrating hearing them sound cocky and whatnot, but it's kind of like, what do you expect from a program that went from where they came from to doing what they did last season? I understand it. So those are my thoughts. I told you guys, you're probably not gonna like it, probably not gonna agree with it, but at the end of the day, I'm an objective person. I keep it real. I'm just being honest, and that's what we like to do. But now I want to get y'all's thoughts. 205-342-9904. We'll do that on the other side, right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 30 WTBC. At the time out, when we come back, we go to you guys. Do you have? All right, let's see what you guys think. I told you guys are probably not going to be feeling it, man, but let's see. Don't forget to sack that like button. That's right, man. I appreciate the reminder. That's fine. They deserve bragging rights, but the crap with Ty from a coach is just sad for a coach to carry himself that way. Now, I should have mentioned that part. It's not my, cup of tea for coaches to go online and and address things like that. I was listening to Josh Pate's response. I know he was saying he loves just like the honesty and people really, saying how they feel about things, which I understand to an extent. But I mean, the way I've always been, taught being here with Coach Saban and how we did things, that's not, I wouldn't want my coaches necessarily doing that. I'm not saying the way he addressed it is right. I'm just trying to explain where these folks might be coming from. Because to me, if you look at it from their side of things, I think it makes sense, personally. Not saying it's necessarily the right approach, but I understand why they're being so defensive like that. Because I know exactly, I mean, not exactly, but I know even playing here at Alabama, like sometimes I'd have people try to tell us, oh, the only reason you guys won is because you hoarded talent. The only reason you guys won is because y'all paid all these like just making excuses for everything. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know, you don't have a clue what we did to win. You know what I mean? Like, you've never walked in our shoes. Like, you wouldn't understand. I'm talking about like other players or like people in the sports world saying stuff like that. I'm like, brother, you might have played college football, but you didn't go. It's not because we're just hoarding talent. Like, yeah, we got good players, but I mean, you didn't walk a mile in our shoes, man. So you can't speak on that. To me, it's giving them mad props. Yeah, like I said, on one hand, it definitely is a compliment. Like, again, and even the aspect of it that I said is not so much of a compliment is clearly unintentional. Ty wasn't doing it with an intent to take anything away from them. I just believe Ty, listen, he's a smart guy. He studied a lot of tape. He probably said, hey, listen, I know they're doing a bunch of disguises, but I know when they're showing this look, they're getting the cloud coverage. When they're doing this, I know they're going to quarter. So they got cover 2 right here. Okay, they're showing this look, but they're trying to get to, invert, which they've shown, right? So I get probably where he was coming from, but in my opinion, just kind of like, man, I mean, if we knew all what they're going to do and we really just got beat that bad, yeah, that's a compliment. But if anything, I'm more worried about like, bro, I mean, that's just kind of crazy to think about. Alabama just got worked that bad. If we, in fact, felt that confident about what they were doing schematically, like, you're telling me they just were that much more physical, that much more dominant. I mean, that's almost a little bit harder for me to hear. What's sad is there's a bunch of 5 stars that got bent over and spanked by a bunch of 3 stars. That's what you should be mad about. Hey, I'm with you, Bama Panthers fan. Like, to me, like, instead of getting mad at their fan base, man, I would be more like, man, what? And I put out a tweet initially, and I was like, let me just delete this. I don't even feel like doing this. But that was my whole perspective. Like, bro, at the end of the day, like, they're going to celebrate and do all that. Like, they won. They got it, right? Nobody beat them last year. It is what it is. But I'm not going to be worried about them. I'm worried about us. And I'm focused on what the hell we got to do so that doesn't happen again. You know what I mean? Like, from a schematic standpoint, just from a mentality, I basically initially was saying, like, Alabama's main 3 objectives this offseason, right, should be physicality, attention to detail, and execution. All 3 things that Indiana team, they lived by. I mean, they lived by those 3 things. Elite execution, attention to detail, and they're a very physical bunch. Clearly, he heard what he wanted to hear. I don't think he heard what he wanted to hear. I think he just heard that somebody basically said the scheme wasn't very complex. The scheme wasn't, anything really tough for him. And to me, I can understand the defensive coordinator. I'm not saying the fan base, but the defensive coordinator who is responsible for the scheme. I can totally understand why he took that as a backhanded compliment. And welcome back into this Mania Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're breaking down this whole, it's not a back and forth chase. What do you call this? This whole, I don't know. You got a better word for this issue? I'm
dispute, maybe a dispute.
There you go, a dispute between Indiana's defensive coordinator. I'm reading some of these comments here, and respectfully, I disagree with a lot of it. I see Money says, all-time menace, Indiana doesn't change coverage much post-snap. That's not true. I just was talking about their disguise. I just was watching this morning. They a lot of it is disguise. A lot of it is like it's predicated on deception, pre and post snap. So that's wrong. That's what I'm saying. You guys are just kind of saying things that aren't true, man. Like, and I think that's why the coordinator got offended, because if there's some narrative of, oh, they don't do much. I just explained, in a sense, they don't do much because they run a whole bunch of cover 3. But if we're gonna keep it real here, Chase, which we like to do, guess who also doesn't run a whole bunch? Us. Guess who also, plays a whole crap ton of cover 3? Us. Guess who a year ago played man coverage like all the time, or 2 years ago, all the time, to the point where we didn't even, you talking about not even disguising, we hardly disguised on defense. And guess why we couldn't get off the field on third down? Us. So, I mean, listen, that's what I'm saying, guys. You got to take the glasses off and you just got to keep it real sometimes, man. If we're going to make it seem like, oh, Indiana doesn't do a whole bunch, you got to take a look in the mirror, guys. We don't do a whole bunch defensively like that. We started to this past year. We did some more. But even if I go back to the Oklahoma game, we just played a whole bunch of cover 2. It just was invert 2. We did a really nice job disguising. And here's the thing. That's okay. You don't have to run a million different things. If anything, I think that was part of the reason we had issues with our offense. Like, at the end of the day, guys, football is about going out there, blocking and tackling people, being physical and executing. You start getting in trouble when you start trying to do too much. Like, if anything, they're doing it the right way. We probably should take a look at what they're doing and try to take a page out their book. And I'm not trying to say that and like send shots at our own folks, but I'm just being honest here. Because if we're going to try to joke about them not doing much, guys, like their system works and they execute at a high level, man. Like it is what it is, man. You just got to be real about it. 205-342-9904. We got Smitty up first. Smitty, welcome in.
How's it going, good brother?
What's up, Smitty? Talk to me.
Man, I thought you got rid of Chase for a second. I'm glad he still's working there, man. I got worried for a moment, man.
No, I can't do that, man. Can't do that. No, we just had to upgrade that camera, man. And they finally did. It looks good, nice and crisp and clear. I like it, man.
Good. Chase does a good job. But first things first, shout out to Alabama's own Obafemi. It did what it needed to do. And plus, he's the new Brock Lesnar, and Brock had that same rise in the early 2000s. Yes, I'm in my 40s, so I'm dating myself. But but yes. But the thing is, with this top thing, I put in the chat, the first thing I thought about was, okay, so what, ask Dan Lanning and Dante more about Indiana? Did Indiana whoop them twice? Can we ask them? Stop asking Alabama. We ain't the only team that got smoked by these guys. And they were down 35-0.
Yeah, they also got, they were deceived as well, because go back and watch. Matter of fact, was it the first play of the game that Oregon threw a pick 6? Did they do that by just being simple and vanilla? No, they disguised really well, and Pons jumped around. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the reason the dude took offense to it is because if somebody like Ty says that, again, unintentionally, he didn't mean it. It just kind of pushes a narrative that other people have been saying about them, whether it's, oh, they've got old players, oh, they don't do anything. And he probably just hit him on the wrong day. Probably struck a nerve, man.
You know what? Here's the other thing. I was so confident Indiana smoking Oregon because I watched the first game. I don't watch this SEC. That I put my girlfriend Valentine's Day gift money on that one. I was that confident. And these guys were down 35-0, and no one's making any referendums on their program, and they act like Dan Lanning and Bill Parcells. But you know that they're having you. No one ever talks about them when they lost got smoked by Ohio State the year before. I'm like, how come only one program gets smoked like that? And everybody else could just get blown out and everything, and no one's called like a national crisis. That's just stuff that I pay attention to.
I'll answer it for you, because I wondered that, and then I come back to reality and say, well, it's clearly because the standard is different, right? I mean, when people see those Alabama threads, right, there's a certain expectation. So while you're 100% right, I'll be the first one to say Oregon got blown out. Oregon got embarrassed. No different than we did. Some could say even worse. However, did people, you know what I mean? Like, do people have that same expectation when they see an Oregon football team play? Even though I know it's not fair because you're comparing teams to what they did years ago, but that's just the reality of it. You know, people expect Alabama a certain way, especially when you talk about the mystique of being physical, dominant, all this stuff. And then when you see that type of performance that we did against Indiana, it's going to lead to a lot of conversation. So you're not wrong, Smitty. It is unfair, if we're just being real, that Alabama is subject to that type of criticism. At the end of the day, man, that's what happens when you build up a standard the way that we have, which is a compliment really to the program.
And I'll say this. Bama fans going to hate when I say this. You talk the offensive line ain't had a clue to block. We ain't had our offensive line ain't had a clue how to block since when the year 2021 started. Let's just be real. Watch Bryce Young tape. That's why he went number 1 overall. You know, for what reason? Also physical. We ain't been that way since 2021 also. And, but that just happens, you know, every run ends, you know, you lose coaches and stuff like that. And that's a comment to Saban, where he kept it going that long despite losing coaches all the time. A lot of coaches, because even with Signetti, one, he ain't the next Nick Saban because his assistant wouldn't have been chirping off like that on Twitter. You know, let's just get that straight. He probably wouldn't even have a Twitter account. The assistant on the Saban Twitter account would be just retweeting academic player of the week. That's it. You know? But my thing is, right, even old players, a lot of teams have old players. BYU always had guys that did Mormon missions, and they ain't won a title since like the 80s. So I'm not that's what I'm saying. So it's not just old players. What it is with them is it's the old Belichick mantra. Do your job. Be where you're supposed to be. Do what you're supposed to do. Because I remember Saban said this when he first took over Alabama. He said, hey, sometimes you can't defend a perfect throw. But if you're there doing your right thing, we're not going to be mad at you. Things happen. They made a good play. But I think that's the thing that people should take. That team that, yes, they may not have all these first-round draft picks like Ohio State, but they beat Ohio State on the field, same with Oregon, because they did their job. And I think that's the thing with football. You show your tape. Like, I remember that Georgia game, that SEC championship game. You showed I would say Bray Wyatt, wrestler on my mind. But that was a play where Georgia scored a touchdown, like a little bootleg pass off the 5-yard line. But you said Bray wasn't doing his job. And I was like, if the guy scored a touchdown anyway, at least he scored, you doing your job. And I think that is where it is. Because think about it. I couldn't remember. I remember someone put a stat. I'm not picking on Ryan, but he had more drops than Indiana combined. So those guys did everything they're supposed to do, blocking-wise, like defense being where they're supposed to be, even being physical, because you can be physical all you want, but you still got to do your job while being physical, you know? And I think that's the thing is that coaches can coach to lay it out all they want. Players have to do their jobs. And I believe that team was motivated to beat Indiana. Hey, you're in the Rose Bowl. You're the final. I forgot what round they was in. Maybe final 8 or whatever. If you ain't up for that, we don't need you on the team anyway. So those guys, they just got their butt kicked. And sometimes people just got to understand. No matter what motivation or cussing that coaching staff of Alabama could have done, Indiana was just better. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like in the NBA, because I've been betting against the Phoenix Suns now on OKC. I'm making some money. The thing is, no matter how hard you try, you just can't match up with that team. And they just got whooped. But here's the thing. I said something you got to run. I've always said losing brings clarity. You don't get clarity for winning. You get clarity for losing. And I think that, like Alabama last year, they got, with all of those deficiencies, they got farther than anybody they had any business going. And they just ran into a buzzsaw. But even with Miami, because I think Carson Beck ain't that good. I'm going to be honest with you. They paid him $4 million to hand the ball off and throw bubble screens. They didn't trust that dude. And when he had to throw the ball, he saw what happened. But the thing was, what lost Miami that national title game, you watch it again, was Miami not doing their job in punt formation. Indiana got the block punt, scored a touchdown. That was the difference in the game. They didn't make little mistakes like that. And that's the thing what I think our team program hasn't had in years. And that's what they need to go back to. Because I remember Saban's last couple of years, we was leading the conference of penalties. Remember that Texas 18 penalties, Tennessee 17, 18? That stuff sets you back. Or missing blocks and stuff where you mess up a play. I just think those are the things that sets you apart. And they did better with the penalties, Christian. They did. But certain things, not like you were showing the tape, not doing your job, not being where you're supposed to be. Those are things that lose you the game, and it will neutralize any star rating that you may have. I know you got to run. Thanks for taking my call. And you guys, tell your dad. Tell your dad to stop holding out on you because you got a yacht now. Tell him let you get around on that yacht, man. He should have told you got one.
Listen. That dude there, man. he when I tell you, man, you don't know what you get with him. I mean, he comes on like a week straight. And you're like, dang, all right, he's back on the show. We win an award, man. Super grateful for that. He disappears. We don't see him for a whole week. He's sitting on a yacht. I'm like, okay, all right. We'll just keep it pushing, man. Smitty, I appreciate you, brother.
You have a good one, brother.
You too, man. Good deal. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep responding to this. I know we got a number of phone calls. I know we got a number of chats, man. Again, what did you guys think, man? Did Ty Simpson throw a shot at Indiana? Did it justify their coordinator, posting what he posted? Man, I want to get y'all's thoughts right here on the Miller's Edge. Ty 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Let's see. Saw Courtney Morgan interview saying he needs more money. That's also about how to get money to the players. All right, wait. I didn't hear him say all that. Maybe you're paraphrasing him, Army. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting where we're at, but that's why you need rules. But then what's crazy is when you mention that there needs to be formal rules, people will try to tell you you're taking away from the players. You're trying to Alabama is mad because they went years of paying players and now other people can do it's I hate when people make these comments, man. I'm like, there's no structure. There's no structure right now. I mean, you got some schools that are abiding by the revenue share cap, and most schools are going above and beyond, and there's no true monitoring it. Like, just like Courtney said, like, you don't even really know what people are really paying people. Like, you don't even know because it's not formal contracts. I mean, yes, there's agreements that are signed, but like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way to really keep track specifically with all this stuff. That's why you need formal rules to help, keep everything structured and organized. But Ty wasn't wrong in what he said, but the IUDC. Like I said, I knew I was going to be probably the only one with my stance on it. But like I told you guys earlier, man, I'm just the type of person, like, I know some people that know me might be like, man, yeah, right, man, you get offended. Yeah, fair enough. But I'm saying, like, stuff like this, man, like, look, like Smitty said, they were the better team. They beat us, it is what it is. And what I did was I put myself in their shoes because I was like, man, let me try to understand why they might be having this attitude or this perspective. And then it made sense when I did that. I'm like, every time we've talked about Indiana on the show, whether it's my dad or other people, it's always an excuse that they're older than everybody. That's really the biggest one with them. Right. They win, paid a bunch of old players and this and that. And I could just imagine, like, yeah, when you're hearing that all year and people kind of downplaying that, like, think about the magnitude of that accomplishment on their end. Alabama, if we go win a national championship next year, that's number what? 19? Are we at 18 or that's whatever? 18, 19? Lost count. We've got so many. They went and just did that after being like the worst program of all time, the worst college football program of all time. They were, not too long ago. Now they're not, but they were. So imagine you going from that to what they did last season, and instead of people kind of really quick to give you props, let's just call a spade a spade. I don't know where it sits, but I know from my end, from what I see, I don't know what you guys see or what you guys hear, but from my end, I would say at best, it might be 50-50. People just saying, hey, man, they're a good football team, give them props. Then the other half of that making excuses and basically not very respectful of what they did. That's just me being honest. People making excuses. Like, that's what I've seen. And so given what I've seen, I understand why they have that attitude. And then, like I said, with the coordinator, if someone's basically calling your system or alluding that your system is, oh, it was easy, they do the same stuff, I had it figured out. I could see why he took offense to that, even though Ty didn't mean it in an offensive way. So that's that's pretty much how I see it, which I know people aren't going to probably agree with what I got to say, but I take pride in being objective, man. I'm not going to wear crimson glasses here. Just, the dude got offended by something that wasn't meant to be, and he responded a certain way. I don't agree with how he responded, but I know if I was a defensive coordinator and I had a guy that we just beat down like that, and I was prideful in the performance that we had, and he kind of seemed like he was kind of, again, it seemed like he was kind of downplaying my system. All seriousness, I would probably be like, yeah, come on, man. But I would not go to Twitter like him. I'd just be like, really, man? Like, especially knowing what I know about the defense. And I respect Ty's perspective. I mean, he's, as a quarterback, he probably knows it even better than I do. But just watching Indiana's defense, I was really impressed with what I saw. I wouldn't say it was like some basic system compared to SEC defenses. Now, the biggest difference is, again, and some of these SEC defenses from Coach Saban's tree, whether it's cover 7, like those coverages and systems, those do carry a lot more to them. Like, Ty's not wrong on that. But Indiana's is complex in its own way. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit different in how they do it. But in terms of the simulators they run, that all the pressure that they bring, I mean, they've got a base 3-4 defense working a tight front, but their outside backers, man, are really athletic and do a damn good job playing in space where they can pretty much run a lot of the same stuff they do in nickel out of base. They bring pressure from all over. I mean, they're very it's a chaotic defense, man. They gave people fit. So I respect it. I like the way they played defense. Honestly, I really did. I liked it a lot. Had a lot of kind of like old school kind of to it, but also a lot of new school nuances. I respect their defense. Respect the hell out of it. Even their coach. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Ty 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We only got like 2 minutes before we hit the top of the hour break. So Hunter, Joe, and I see we got Digger too. We're going to get to you guys. Just give us like 3 minutes until we knock out this top of the hour break. But just responding to a few of these chats I see. I can't even pronounce that name. It's a long one. I don't even, what to say? Kos. We'll just say go Kos, K-O-S. Says, I don't think anyone was saying that Indiana's system was vanilla. So he didn't necessarily say it was vanilla, but when he was comparing it to the likes of some SEC defenses, he was saying, he literally said they don't do a whole bunch. They basically do the same thing. So he was kind of alluding to the fact of it being a simple system. That's what I'm getting at. And I think you or somebody else mentioned like, well, Caleb Downs also agreed. Caleb, I think, was probably more so referring to offensively. I mean, because he's a defensive player. But again, if that's his opinion, that's his opinion. But like I said, it depends on how you look at it. From a coverage perspective, they run a lot of cover 3. I mean, literally, I didn't have enough time to do this, but I was going to make a cut up of all of Ty's throws from the Indiana game and point out what they were running coverage-wise. And I remember, I saw probably like at least half of those snaps were all cover 3, some form of cover 3, but they weren't like just traditional cover 3 every single time. Sometimes it's cloud, sometimes it looked like sky. They've got some man match stuff that they'll do. And then, like I mentioned, it's sprinkled in a little bit of quarters and I think, cover 2. The play that he got hurt on, I know for a fact, because that was the last play I finished on that one. It was cover 2, and it was a little bit more of a traditional cover 2, which I've seen them run invert 2, but it was more of a traditional cover 2. And I was going to just try to explain, like, it's interesting. He said he had it figured out, but like on that throw, he had a hitch that he hesitated because the backer did a really nice job kind of being in that window. And then a lot of open grass. He ended up scrambling, didn't get down, and Pons ended up laying that hit on him that ultimately fractured his rib. But, yeah, well, like I said, if we have time, I would be glad to pull up the tape and explain further kind of what I'm saying, because just me as a defensive guy, I just appreciate good football, good defense. And I think I could probably paint a picture a bit better and show why they might not agree with what Ty was saying, because I don't even fully agree with it. I agree to an extent, but not fully. But anyway, again, at the end of the day, I just think it was something that he said, not trying to, insult anybody. If anything, I think he was trying to kind of give it props. but you understand how somebody could receive it as a backhanded compliment, which people got to remember, backhanded compliment doesn't always mean like something super negative. A backhanded compliment also could be unintentional, which I think that's kind of what ended up happening here. You mean it to be a compliment, but it somewhat underlying has something that could, be a little insulting is a little strong, but you get my point, right? Like my man Chase is wearing glasses. Like if I could say something like, Chase, you got some really nice glasses on there, but then I added one little thing and I didn't mean anything, could be perceived. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to make a great example. I think Chase is nodding his head. He gets it. That's all that matters. We got to hit the top of the hour break. When we come back, we keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Ty 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're going to hit these phone lines coming up, and we'll keep on rolling right here, Ty 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
WTBC.
All right. Now I'm done talking about my opinion. I want to get y'all's thoughts on it. I think Ty said what he said. Yeah, he said what he said for sure. And I said what I said. Everybody's saying what they say. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I told you guys. I don't take this stuff so serious. It's good. It's good radio. It's a great conversation. We just went a whole hour talking about it. I love it. Makes my job easier. Quarters was the worst coverage Ty could throw against all season. I had to go back and look about like what I got to go back and look and see what people were playing, like when we were having success and when we weren't. I mean, we all know, what quarters is, right? At least there's a number of different ways of playing it depending on what system you're in, but base rule, 4 under, 3 deep coverage. Everybody's responsible basically for a quarter of the field, but really it goes further than that. I mean, a lot of times the guys like safeties end up, matching 2 vertical, and then there's a number of different rules. And then if you get into other people's systems, like some people play it a little bit different, but I'd have to go back and look. I know he did really well against cover 2 early on in the year. He had a lot of cover 2 hole shots, man. Really nice job against cover 2. Trying to think of what else. Here's my thing though, but if we knew they were just running, so much cover 3, man, I mean, we've gone over guys here on the show, like what cover 3 is, cover 3 beaters. I mean, you just would think like if we had such a good idea, again, like let's move past this for a second. I know you guys are going to chime in when you get on the phone lines, but let's just take it back even further. Like he said he knew what was coming, but they just executed so well. I mean, I just still feel like there's still things that you can do. If you're just expecting so much cover 3, like we already know the seams are going to be vulnerable, right? Quick flat routes. But that's why when they mix it up with cloud, that's what I'm saying. Like when they mix it up with cloud and you got a corner sitting on those things, man, like somebody might think, okay, we're just getting cover 3 right here. But you try to hit those flats quick, wrong move, right? I mean, I can't remember exactly what Indiana played against Oregon on that pick 6, but they did a nice job disguising because Pons ended up breaking on that route first play of the game. Let me pull up the tape real quick. Let me pull up the tape. I can show you better. I can tell you. Would you ever take a job with the team? Man, I'll be honest. I don't. Coaching is now. I don't think I really want to coach. Not, and especially not today's. The way things are right now, I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. I would love to just be, like player development stuff, like where I could actually help people, and then on the side just help people, like kind of like what HaHa does. I think I'd be great at that. I mean, I have a background in finance, real estate, in terms of like, wealth management, real estate, investing. I played the game, life advice. Hell, I'm bilingual. Like, I don't know if there's anything you could probably name that I haven't done or don't have experience with. So I think I could be very useful in that role. I would love to do something like that. But I think there's a misconception, though. I think people think it's just as simple as like, oh, if you're a former player, like anybody can just go up there. And it's not like that. You know what I mean? Like I'll see a bunch of times people are like, oh, well, these former players have comments. Well, they need to go up there and do this. It's honestly not that easy. They don't just like let anybody just do stuff. Now they'll let people go in there and do stuff to an extent, but it's not as simple as it might seem. Hell, I'll be honest. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys, man. I was disappointed. They gave me trouble about just going on the field for A-Day, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. And I've never had an issue like that, really. They acted funny about that. And I work with the broadcast team and am a former player, team captain here. So just so you know, so when you guys say stuff like, oh, man, you just go in there and go talk to those guys. I wish it was that simple, but unfortunately, man, it sometimes isn't. And it's kind of it's honestly kind of disappointing because I've talked to a number of guys that have voiced, very similar things that that they felt like that. And I don't know where it's coming from or why I was like that, but I'm talking about for A-Day, guys. They acted weird about A-Day, which is a spring game. They basically said they're trying to keep it to active NFL guys. And then, I mean, I saw Ruben was on the field. I saw Drake Kirkpatrick, which I know his son's on the team, but I don't know. So it's kind of disappointing, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. But the only reason I say that is just so you guys know, like, I think sometimes there's a misconception that, oh man, like former players y'all should go talk to these guys. Even if a lot of us would, it's not as simple as just showing up. I mean, like I said, A-Day, they decided to take that approach. I don't know what the deal was, but it's all good. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, we're talking about this whole deal with Indiana's defensive coordinator on X. I know you're sick of me talking about it, so I feel like I've expressed everything. I'm going to pull up some tape, though. That way I can show you a little bit of what Indiana does on defense, because I know I've been talking about it, and people go, oh, man, you always hype these people up, like Oklahoma. I'm like, no, man, I just like good defense. And I think I can show you better than I can tell you. But in the meantime, we're going to go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Let's see what we got. We got Hunter up next. Hunter, welcome in.
What up, Christian?
What's going on, Hunter?
Not much. How'd you like WrestleMania? Real quick.
Night one, it was okay. And night one, I was kind of disappointed.
Mid.
Yeah, it was mid, very mid. There you go. Night two, though,
Very
man,
mid.
they did a phenomenal job night two. I'm not gonna lie, to make up for night one. Loved Obafemi getting the dub over Brock. That main event with CM Punk and Roman, I thought it delivered a really good match. Jade, who a lot of people give a lot of flack to about her in-ring ability, I thought she was phenomenal, man. So I thought there's some good matches. The ladder match was great too.
Absolutely. All right, so I got to ask you a tough question.
Oh God, here we go. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
All right, so the Christian, what's one thing Bama does schematically that some fans don't notice?
Ooh, man, what is one thing Alabama does schematically that fans might not notice? Well, off the top of my head, I know I saw some of that breakdown that Ty was doing with was it Chase Daniels, I think it was, but just talking about some of the things that they do pre-snap that I don't think not all fans might pick up on, but I mean, I'm sure you guys probably noticed, but whether it's the pre-snap motion, just to get indicators or just little things, I think what stood out is when he talked about pretty much, how much control that he had pre-snap in terms of doing things and trying to get certain looks and going to things. I mean, I think that's definitely a big one on offense. It really, and you see a lot of offenses do stuff like this, but I feel like how we did it last season was really impressive. Seemed advanced defensively with some things that we do that fans might not realize. Man, gosh, that's a tough question. I mean, you're saying that fans don't realize. Like, I know we do the stuff with the whole like the backer kind of off the ball, like mugged up. That's a little interesting to me. Dude, I'll be honest. You might have stumped me on this one. Like, I really don't even really know where to go with this one, man. Like, one thing that we do, and you said schematically, right?
Yeah.
Dang. Man, yeah. I mean, shoot, I could just go over kind of what we do. I just don't know what would be like something like the fans don't know, whether it's like, invert two stuff that we started doing last season that I thought was really good. I thought it really it really threw off some quarterbacks. Like that Oklahoma game, we ran a lot of it, and it was a really good coverage for us. The second time around, that was one that Xavier Brown had that pick on. But, man, I'll say this. like in the running game, I feel like we do a lot of different stuff. And when we had Coach DeBoer on here, I asked him about it and maybe like, what do they plan on doing schematically to maybe fix the running game? Because I personally thought we just did so many different things that we didn't really have something to put our hat on. And he basically confirmed that, yeah, they're looking to try to not necessarily simplify what they do, but really find some things that they do really well that they know that they can call and feel confident on. So if I'd answer your question, I would say that, yeah, offensively, I almost feel like we did so much that we didn't really have, certain things mastered. And I think that's an approach they're looking to take this offseason. But I think you might have stumped me on that one, Hunter.
Okay, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, I was about to say you might have stumped me on that. I mean, listen, I'll probably think of something and come up with it, but no, I mean that something we do schematically that fans just don't know. I can just go over what we do and then see if anything stands out to you. But I mean, give me an example of something that you might be thinking like that would count for that might be on your mind. Even if it's not with us, but if something that you might have been thinking.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not really sure. That's why I asked you. That's why I'm.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a good question.
It's a tough question. Like it's a tough thing to talk about.
I mean, all I know is defensively, like I said, I mean, we do a lot of multiple stuff. I'll throw this out there for all the people that thought like Kane Womack's 4-2-5 just meant like we only lined up in nickel 24/7. Understand that it's a multiple defense. Like that's a good one. I don't think fans understand that part. And a matter of fact, this spring they've shown a lot more 3-4 looks on defense than I've seen them in the past. So there you go. Here's an answer for you. So for the people that thought like the reason we couldn't stop the run was only because our base was initially that 4-2-5 nickel defense. They'll see a lot more multiple fronts and multiple packages on defense. I'm assuming this season because I saw a lot of it this spring with Justin Hill and Yonze Pierre both out there outside backer and then a 3 down front like an odd front. So yeah, I mean that's something maybe defensively that I would say that I think fans have a misconception about our defensive scheme.
Got you. Okay. One more. So I'm gonna bring up like the schedule and stuff for this season. So like, what's the games that you have circled for this coming up season?
Georgia. After watching their spring game, I definitely think that's going to be a tough one. And I mean, I know it's a spring game. I don't want to overreact, but I do think they have a good team, and they definitely have a lot of depth. They have a lot of intriguing pieces, even some young guys that I was like, man, those guys are impressive. But I would say Georgia for sure. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I would say Georgia, Texas A&M, and LSU are my three that I'm a little on the fence about. I know there's other ones that are intriguing, like Kentucky. That's an earlier one on the road. I know they've been adding some pieces. That one's definitely intriguing as well. But if like the three that I kind of feel like could be the biggest challenges are definitely the first three that I mentioned, Georgia, A&M, and LSU. But Kentucky's an intriguing game to me. I feel like that could end up being an interesting matchup. I'll be honest, even Auburn in the Iron Bowl, you already know it's the Iron Bowl, but them bringing, Golish from USF. And I think their quarterback had some picks in the spring game, but there's no denying. I mean, I watched him at South Florida. That dude is that quarterback. I mean, he's an interesting player. I'm not saying he's the most accurate passer, but he's a big physical specimen. I think he could be kind of Lenora Sellers-esque. And then you already know he's coming with his former head coach, and that system is already a very interesting one to deal with. So, I mean, there's a number of games, to be honest with you, that I think could be some tough matchups, but that's what makes this season so interesting because you just don't really know how. Like LSU, I mean, I would say they potentially have 2-3 first rounders from the portal alone that they brought in. But how good are they? How quick can they come together? You know what I mean? Those are a lot of questions that I don't really know.
The one that I got circled really, besides like the ones you said, I'm surprised you ain't say Tennessee though.
Well, because to me, I'm like Tennessee. I know it's going to be tough on the road. There's a lot of question marks for me surrounding Tennessee right now, and I would throw that in that whole thing. That's really that stretch, right? I'm pretty sure it's Georgia,
It's that
Tennessee.
4-game stretch.
Yeah. I mean, I could have threw them in there.
Yeah,
I just
that was
didn't want
cool.
to seem like I was throwing in the whole schedule. But the reason I mentioned the first three is because I don't know. Tennessee, I don't know what they'll be like as a football team. Georgia, watching the spring game, knowing some of the returning pieces, knowing what I know about their staff. I mean, that one's always going to be a tough game. Texas A&M, kind of a similar deal, man. I think they're trending in the right direction as well. But then I threw LSU in there because I know Lane Kiffin is, a really good coach. And then he just went to LSU and he got his hands on what's allegedly a $40 million roster, which consists of 3 guys that could be potential first-round picks. I'm just like, that could be an issue. So, listen, I think there's a number of games you can circle on the schedule, but it's like that every year. At the end of the day, man, I mean, that's what you signed up for when you come to Alabama, and that's why it's so important that you know what I mean? Like, you're as ready for those games as possible. That's why the youth kind of concerns me a little bit for this upcoming season.
There's one more game that I have circled too. I know I don't want to circle the whole schedule, but last 2 years we have had a tough game against this team and barely pulled it out last year, and that's South Carolina.
100%. You can't sleep on the Gamecocks, man. I almost slept on them a little bit last year. Matter of fact, I kind of did. Everybody knew it was going to be a tough one coming off of that stretch and going on the road, and I knew it was going to be a tough game, but just watching them, and they could not run the football. My thing was, listen, if you go out there and you find a way to stop the Norris Sellers, man, I just don't really see them having success offensively. But sure enough, in those moments where you go on the road, your team's been beaten up a little bit, and we started off solid. We had that pick earlier on, but man, they just kept finding ways to stay in there. That big touchdown from Nick Harbor. Then, of course, offensively, we struggled. That was probably the worst performance by our offensive line. I mean, that was the offensive. South Carolina's defensive line terrorized our offensive line, and really, let's just be honest. That made 2 years back to back that we probably could have and should have lost to South Carolina. Remember, 2 years ago at home, we got saved by that forced fumble. Lenore Sellers, he dropped the ball or something like that. And we got the ball. Then they almost still had the chance at the end, trying to throw a Hail Mary or something. I think Damani got the interception. But then last year, remember, another forced fumble. Deontay Lawson ended up, I think, forced it. Maybe Tim Keenan picked it up or fell on it. And that was what gave us the ball right there. We were able to score, if I remember that correctly. But, yeah, you're right, man. Gamecocks have made it tough for us the last 2 years. So they got Lenore's coming back. They've got Devin, what is his name? The defensive end. I'm drawing a blank. But, Dylan Stewart. I'm sorry, not Devin. Dylan Stewart. And, they got a number. Yeah, and they got a number of guys out of the portal. So that's going to be South Carolina's no slouch either, man. But that's why it brings you back. And I'll say this. It's imperative that you take every single game and have the right approach, right? You know what I mean? There can't be this wavering kind of, sometimes I feel like there's games where we show up and it just looks like we're almost either overlooking or we're just a little complacent. And you just can't afford to have that when you're facing teams like we are. And you just can't afford that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to see, man. We'll talk. I'm gonna start looking into those teams deeper over the summer too. So it'll be fun, man. We'll get a better idea. Hunter, I appreciate it, man. How'd your I didn't get to see it. How'd your interview go, man?
Oh, it went good.
I have to try to go back and check it out, man. Fun. I'll go back and check it out. I didn't get to see it, but I'll have to go back and look, man. I appreciate you, brother.
All right. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Good deal. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling. We got Joe. We got Digger. We'll hit you guys on the phone lines. We come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Ty 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano. Did you know that
Bishop, what's up, man? Spitting straight gumbo. I like it, man. It makes me hungry. No, you guys know, man, I'm just honest. Now, I'm honest in my own way. I'm not honest like my dad honest, where he just be saying whatever comes to his mind. But no, I mean, I just like calling a spade, man. If a team got the better of us, they got the better of us, man. I don't like the whole whatever. I mean, I just try to put myself in somebody else's shoes, and yeah, it's pretty much just how we roll. If you could change the result of one game in your entire career, what game would you change and why? Man, I would definitely say Either one of the national championship games for sure, but I would say my senior year national championship game. I would love to flip that 2016 one, but I was team captain in 2018, so I think it would have been even cooler to be able to be a captain for that national championship winning team. Selfishly, that's a selfish answer, but if you're asking me personally, like I would flip that one. Not to mention we got our asses whooped. We got our asses whooped, and I didn't get to play in that game. Unfortunately, I hate that. But that would be the one I would probably change. That way I could say my last game of my senior year where I was, voted team captain along with Damian Harris, Ross Pierschbacher, and Hale Henches, man. That would have been really cool. Because when you're like a team captain for a championship team, you're always going to be like plastered on stuff. And that would have been my way to get plastered on a couple more things. But yeah, I'd probably say that one. But wouldn't mind even change the 2016 one when we lost to Clemson. Either one of those. But selfishly, I would probably choose the former. Literally, that's why I like you, because you call it how it is. You don't make excuses for anything. You let both points of view be seen. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, and I don't do it to try to like get a reaction or anything. I really just am just honest in how I view things. If you guys have listened to me, I mean, even when I have to take another side, I always try to bring both sides, because I've always been a believer of that, right? Like there's always going to be two sides. Truth's kind of probably in the middle. So kind of how I view this whole thing, But I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Do you feel Coach DeBoer has improved his coaching staff for this team to improve? Yeah, that's a good question. I listen. I like the additions of Coach Owens and Coach Clem as well. I don't know them super well. I'm not going to act like I know them personally yet. Hopefully, if I'm around during the summer or something, I get to kind of be around them a little bit more. But just going off of kind of their background, I think they were good hires. Now it's to be determined kind of the impact that they have, at least even on the near future. I mean, part of the battle is having, good coaches, but you also got to have good players. And I don't know if I'd be ready to judge Coach Clem based off of 1 year of him being here with this offensive line, because he's working with a whole bunch of new guys, a bunch of green players that don't have a bunch of experience, some raw players. So I'm probably going to try to reserve judgment there, but so far I feel like they've been really nice additions. But that's a good question. Really good question. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's go ahead and we're going to go a little quicker through these, Chase, but we got Super Joe up next. Joe, you with us?
What's up, How you feeling, man?
There he is. This is my guy. What's up, man?
Man, I tell you what, you tell Wrestlemania, I've been a while ago watching wrestling. I got to look at every good thing comes in. Brock Lesnar been ruling for a while.
Yep. Yes.
Brock Lesnar, he's been the beast. Now, they done made the monies off him. And so, now, who was your favorite wrestler in the old days? Your favorite tag team? Your favorite wrestling game?
Man, that's a great question, man. I grew up a big Randy Orton fan. Still am. He's still active. I really like Randy Orton. John Cena, of course. I was a big fan of DX back in the day. Now, I was probably too young to be doing all the stuff that they were doing, especially, you just get in trouble doing that signal they used to do in school. But, yeah, I would say Shawn Michaels, Triple H, man. That was gold. So, and then Batista, I was a big Batista fan, too. I had a lot of favorites, to be honest with you, man. How about you?
I'll say I was Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. That was my favorite wrestling game. The tag team wrestled the Brain Busters, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. And then when they were the Brain Busters in WWE, and then I said and Vader was one of my favorite wrestlers, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Sid Vicious, and them three. And then and I did like Sting. And then I'd say, and then as far as wrestling game, another wrestling game, I said in between the Shield and the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt sitting out there in that rocking chair with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan in the ring. I said, that was just the move. And then the Shield walking down. The Shield walking down. They walking down through the crowd, and that just amazed me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those are definitely some good picks. And I think, yeah, matter of fact, one of those guys, Sid Vicious, he just got inducted in the Hall of Fame, I think.
Yeah, he did. I think he did, and then so one thing about Sid, it's amazing how he talks when he's not doing a bunch of yelling and screaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a little bit
You
before
should
my
hear
time,
cool.
but yeah, no, I definitely I
Yeah,
try to keep up with. I try to go back and I feel like I got a good bit of wrestling history knowledge, man. I feel like I'm pretty good with it.
yeah, and guess what? And I would say this though too, and I tell you what, you got to get ready for the NFL draft coming up because guess what? We're gonna see who our Chicago Bears gonna get in this round.
Now I don't know about who Chicago's getting, but it sounds like I think we got two guys attending the draft. I think Ty Simpson and Caden Proctor are the two that will be attending. I think they probably are the clear favorites to hear their name in the first round out of all of our guys. But yeah, we'll talk about the draft a bunch. Now I'm not a Bears fan specifically, so I can't help you too much there, Super Joe. But we'll talk about it throughout this week with it coming up, man, and see kind of where we think some of these guys might land, especially our Alabama guys.
Oh, who's your team in the NFL?
So I'm a Panthers fan, man. I spent a few years with the Panthers, but I would say I'm a Panthers fan. I mean, my dad played for the Giants, so growing up, I mean, I kind of like the Giants a little bit, kind of like the Vikings. But I would say I stick with Carolina. I try to support my former team as much as possible, even though we've had some some rough years recently.
Yeah, because you're okay. So what was your dad's name who played for the Giants?
So Corey Miller, he played with the Giants 90 through 98, and then he finished his career in Minnesota with 1 year under the Vikings. He played with like Randy Moss and I think Chris Carter. They had some dudes on that team.
Oh yeah, okay. I see. Oh, okay. Oh snap.
Yes,
okay, well shoot. I said, man, because I tell you what though, I said, but yeah, before this year, as far as I really look at it like this, with Alabama. Because I think we're gonna probably more likely have a stronger team. I believe we're gonna go further in the playoffs this year, which I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's on everybody's. I think that's everybody's goal. Now we'll have to see. We just were talking about with Hunter. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit of a challenge. You talk about some of the teams that are on the schedule, and you look at our team and the youth that this team has. Going to have a new starting quarterback. I feel confident that either of the quarterbacks is going to be a good player, but I just can't help but think that there's probably going to be some growing pains. I mean, offensive line wise, I think. And again, not to overreact to other spring games, but you can see if you look at some of these other teams. I mean, we're a little bit behind in that regard in terms of running the football and what we're doing up front. But we'll have to see, man. Time will tell. But that definitely is the goal. And speaking with Coach DeBoer here on the show, some people, including myself, feel like we might be a little bit more set up for the following year, but their goal is to, make a run. Doesn't matter the youth, and I think they feel confident for the most part with who they have. I guess, or else they wouldn't have made the moves that they made this offseason. So that's the game plan, and we'll have to see what we can do this upcoming season.
Oh yeah, and I say yes, we got good things. Everything's going progress. But, like I said, I'm gonna be. We got to be paid for Kellen DeBoer. Let Kellen DeBoer be Kellen DeBoer, and do it Kellen DeBoer's way. So that's just the way it is. Because we just in a new. We're not necessarily know that Nick Saban era is over with. So we're in a different pattern. So that's what we just have to deal with. So
Yeah.
I won't say nothing, but things are panning out how they'll pan out and roll tide.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, I just like I say with the players. I know some people get frustrated when guys leave, man. It's all about just supporting the people, man. I mean, whether it's a guy leaving. I mean, he once was wearing that jersey here. I'm gonna support him, just like we got our staff here. Got to support our staff, and hopefully they can be in position to do a good job because we all want the same thing. That's to win. So there's no need to get too. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with being honest. There's nothing wrong with some fair criticism. At least, I mean, I think that's the whole point of sports talk radio and what the media does. But I think at the same time, you also want to make sure you're supportive and uplifting as best as you can, because we all share a common goal, and that's to win football games and hopefully some championships, right?
That's it.
That's it. Super Joe, we appreciate you, man. We're gonna hit this time out, man. And glad to hear you're also a wrestling fan. I'm gonna add you to the list of all of our listeners, man. We got a ton of wrestling fans as listeners. I love it, man, because me and Chase are big wrestling guys ourselves. So we're gonna start a wrestling podcast at some point, man.
but let me ask you, who is your favorite managers in wrestling? Your favorite managers?
I mean, Paul Heyman's the GOAT. I don't think anybody can dispute that. But Man, I'm trying to think back, man. I feel like outside of Paul Heyman, Chase, I don't think I mean, who has really been that influential in recent years? I'm trying to think. I mean, oh man, you kind of stumped me. I can't even think of many other like big time managers other than Paul Heyman in recent years. I'm probably forgetting somebody. Who am I
Paul
forgetting?
Bearer,
Yeah,
with Undertaker.
I feel like
Sure.
for one, I like to say my back in the old days. I would say Mr. Fuji and Slick.
Yeah, that was definitely before our time, I think. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm missing somebody for sure. But I feel like Paul Heyman is like everybody's manager at this point.
No, yeah. I remember he used to be Paulie Danger. He used to manage Rattlesnake Rick Rude. And I still remember how him and the Dangerous Alliance kidnapped the ninja to keep from being a Ricky Dragon Steamboat corner. I remember that real good.
Dang. Yeah, you got a bunch of wrestling history. I respect that, Super Joe. We'll definitely have to chop it up some more in the future because we definitely going to keep watching, man. WrestleMania is over, but we still going to be keeping up with it. Don't worry.
Okay, then. All right.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, Super Joe.
Take care, man.
Yes, sir. You too. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. I see we got Kevin, we got Digger. We're going to you guys right here on the phone lines on Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Everybody loves Taco Casa.
Jim Cornette. Why? It sounds familiar. I might have to do my research. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm only 29, so there's some of these that are a little bit before my time, but yeah, that definitely was before my time. Damn, we got a bunch of wrestling fans. I didn't realize none of you guys, or all you guys were. Yeah, Stone Cold. He was that dude. Excuse me. Dang, a few of y'all are talking about Cornette and tennis racket. Oh, wait, tennis racket. I know Cornette, but wait, tennis racket. Mario said, I'm not ready to put Bama in the playoffs until I see an improvement in the running game. Midnight Express tag team. Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked on here about 9-3, you're definitely, fighting for a playoff spot. To be fair, and I think QD mentioned this, I don't know if we've seen a 9-3 team in the playoffs just yet. So with that said, I mean, that's why I've said I just think we'll probably gonna be like a bubble playoff team. That's just kind of where I see us right now. I mean, you just got there's some good teams you got to get through to get there, man. I think this team is just young. I think this team has a lot of potential. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think the youth on this team, the way they recruit from the high school ranks, like, we got some players, man. But I just don't know if we're built to really, I guess, withstand the type of schedule and what it takes to get through some of these teams to the, you know what I mean? Like, to the playoffs and making a deep run. I mean, you look at how other teams are built. I just feel like our approach this offseason, it's just me being honest. I just feel like our approach this offseason was, I know people are going to look at, and we got several guys. Like, I mean, I would say, Tompkins, he's an older guy. Josh Ford, I think he's a redshirt sophomore, but he's not like some young guy. Zulu's older. Noah Rogers was a little bit older. So we got several older players, but I just look at like the offensive line, really specifically, I would say offensive line. It just feels just so young that with us having a glaring need to improve up front, not just the running game, but just really from an execution standpoint. Pass pro was okay last year, kind of fluctuated, but I didn't really understand why our approach was what it was, specifically in regards to the offensive line. I just think, man, and I could be wrong. We could end up looking back at this. They could end up being a great unit this upcoming season, and it ends up being like, hey, man, kudos to coaching staff for seeing that potential and doing those evaluations. But I could also see a world where you look back and it feels like, man, like if only we had a better offensive line unit. And then the next following question is going to be, well, man, why didn't we target certain players, right? Maybe why didn't we target a little bit more experience in the portal? That to me feels like a little bit more likely to happen. But again, I hope I'm wrong. But you see where Georgia's player got arrested for blocking the sidewalk. Yeah, unfortunately, man, sometimes what happens is when you have a lot of issues between folks like that, like the program and the department, sometimes people are just kind of naturally a little bit more, quote unquote, on edge. If that makes sense. Went to UA in 2021, graduated 25. My class was the first class to not see the football team win a national championship. Man, no, you weren't the bad luck charm, man. It's just unfortunate, man. You can't win forever, man. But that is kind of crazy to think about. All these kids that were coming to school here for what, about a decade, all got to see a national championship. Kind of crazy to think about. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're rolling on the phone lines, man. We've had a lot of really good stuff we've been talking about. Really, this whole, Indiana, Alabama beef, I guess you can call it. Not even beef, man. I don't want to do more to it than it really needs, because it's not like a beef, but there is some back and forth, and it's even expanded all the way to the media departments. I guess the beat writers are now taking shots at each other, man. So we've got a little war waging on social media with Indiana. But before we continue on the phone lines, let me remind you real quick about our friends over at Lamperlo Law Education and Advocacy, who was founded by our good friend, attorney and professor Adam Lamparello. If you guys have any high school, college, or graduate students, or you guys are in those positions and you're looking for mentoring, exam and test taking preparation, subject matter mastery, application strategy, personal statements, so much more, basically long-term academic and professional planning, they've got you covered. But don't forget, with Adam being a lawyer and a legal representative, he's got you covered there as well. He'll take care of you, whether it's First Amendment cases, name, image, and likeness. Could be any criminal defense matter, they'll cover you. And not only will they do that with genuine care, relentless advocacy, and passion, but they'll do it at very affordable rates. They'll beat out anybody that you can find pretty much. 201-317-5115. Make sure you guys check them out right now. Again, that is Lamparello Law. You can always email Adam at lamparello-law.com, or visit the website lamparello-law.com. Again, that is Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. 205-342-9904. We got Kevin up next. Kev, welcome in. Kevin, you there? Going once, going twice, and sold. All right, we'll go to the next call. Kevin, if you want to circle back, man, hit us back on the phone lines. All right, we got Digger up next. Digger, welcome in.
Yeah, Ty needs to circle back. Holy cow. You call that complimentary talking? Come on.
Complimentary?
Wait. What happened? If you listen, there was nothing complimentary what he said. He was being defensive. Caleb Downs asked him a question, and he was almost getting ribbed about it, and he got defensive about it. You heard the comment. Oh, I knew exactly what they were doing. We couldn't run the ball. I got hurt. There's no compliments in all that. There wasn't. He was very limp-wristed. He didn't want to admit it. This was a blowout. It would have been 38-0 if it wasn't for a pathetic 38-yard field goal. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. I'm telling you, I had it with Ty Simpson. And look, I'm telling you, he made a good decision to go pro this year. Okay, because I'm telling you, you wouldn't have gotten drafted in the first round next year. Okay? This boy is a clipboard holder. He is not going to see the sideline for 3 years. Okay? Unless somebody gets massively hurt and they got to stick him in there. Okay? Because I'm telling you, if he knew what they were doing, why didn't he improvise and do something about it? Okay? Come on. Come on. He was upset about it.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing. I didn't sense that he was necessarily upset, but I don't know if you heard my explanation. I over-explained. I talked about it probably too much, but here's my thing.
You were going in.
No, listen, I know
Yeah.
I hear what you're because partially I'm not gonna say I agree with what you're saying because I wouldn't go as far as saying that. I hear what you're saying, meaning on one end, on their end, I should say, it could be taken as a backhanded compliment if you perceive it a certain way. By no means do I believe that's what his intentions were when he said what he said. I just think, listen, Ty's a smart guy, and I truly believe that he believes that he studied the tape. He went into that game, confident in what he was going to get because, listen, they run cover three. I would probably say, even against us, it was at least 50% of the coverage snaps that I counted just from what I counted. Now, I didn't go back and watch all their games, but against us, they did run a boatload of cover three. They did run different addendums to it, and they mixed little things in there, and they also ran some other coverages, but a lot of it was cover three. So on that end, maybe he just was saying, listen, I know at the end of the day, no matter what they're showing, whether it's too high, whether it's single high, whether they're showing cover zero, a lot of the time, I'm probably getting some form of cover three, and he was prepared for that, some type of single high look, or at least he thought he was prepared for it, and reality was it probably wasn't as simple as he thought it was going into it. Now, he did give him a compliment by saying, their execution was flawless. That's basically saying they're so well coached. They're a very good football team with how they do things. So, that was there, but I also see the other end of it that could feel like a backhanded compliment, even though I don't think that was his intentions. But I don't know. I think it's just kind of a miscommunication deal. I'm sure if the Indiana defensive coordinator spoke with Ty, they'd probably end up finding a common ground where they both are, big football guys and all would be well. But that's kind of, the day and age of social media, Digger. So it is what it is.
No compliment. He didn't say it. He wouldn't come out and say it. All you had to do was say, hey, they played a great defensive front. We couldn't run the ball. He said, oh, no, we couldn't run the ball. I got hurt. He was blaming ass excusing. This is a dead fish handshake after a game. I'm telling you, he needs to. I know he sounded bitter to me. He sounded bitter to me. I'm telling you.
Depending on who's listening to it, I could see how it could maybe sound a little bit bitter. I don't think that was where it was coming from, but maybe I could understand how it could sound like that. But I will say this, though, Digger. I think his reasoning for mentioning that, though, wasn't so much to slight them. I think it was more so to say, hey, to add even more of a compliment, saying, even though, I felt like I knew what they were doing, they executed so far. I think it was almost saying, like, even though I knew what was happening, their execution was so good, we still couldn't figure it out. So I think that was almost, in his mind, probably pushing the compliment maybe a little bit further. But I could also see how that could come out as a little bit of a slight. I see both sides of it.
I'm going to end. Let me end it with this. Okay, this is a perfect example. Your news ran the news that Alabama beat Texas in baseball 2-1 yesterday. Okay, that's good. He didn't say that you lost the series. He didn't say that you struck out 49 times. So many times you should change the name Crimson Tide to Windmill. Okay, and this is the first win over Texas in, I counted, 120 years. Okay, 120 years in baseball. We're 13 into an overall series. So I'm just letting you know, congratulations. This is a compliment. Congratulations.
Wait, no.
You won yesterday, 2-1.
No, but that's a prime example of a backhanded compliment. You said, hey, congratulations. It's the first time you beat us in 100. Wait, did you say 120 years? Is that what he said, Chase? Digger, you
the
said
last
100.
time y'all won against was 1904. Okay.
Wait, are we sure about that? We need a higher stats guy that can pull this up. That's a long time.
Pull it up.
But listen, that is a little bit of a backhanded compliment, right? When do we agree that is? You said, okay, congrats on beating us, but it's the first time you did it.
Congratulations.
No, I'm done. Okay, so
it was backhanded that the lady didn't mention all the other stuff. Oh, Alabama won 2-1 yesterday. Oh,
listen. There you go. Appreciate that, Digger. I just host the Miller's Edge, man. I just come on here and talk really football about 90% of the time. I'm not in control of writing articles. I don't know who didn't mention that. If I was in charge of writing articles, Digger, I will tell you this, man. I probably would have maybe included something like that just to tell the whole truth. But at the end of the day, though, that doesn't really matter, though. We were talking about the series from this past weekend. But kudos to you guys, though. 120 years, man. It's a long time. Sounds kind of iffy to me. We might need to fact check that. We got plenty of time to do it because we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we got one more segment to go right here on this Mania Monday edition of the Miller's Edge. Haven't even got to talk about the draft, man. This has been a very interesting show. We'll keep on going. When we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Ty 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Coming up.
Well, we got some app messages. We won 2 of the 3 in the first series this year. Yeah, so Digger, that's what I'm saying. So Digger's off, man. He's off with whatever he was saying. Pop says, Christian, I don't think Ty was saying anything in a negative way towards Indiana's defense. I don't think their coach should have taken it personally, especially after destroying Bama and going on to win it all. Yeah, no, and just to reiterate, I don't think Ty intentionally said anything in a negative way. Again, I want to be clear. I don't think Ty was intending on saying that to be bitter or to, throw some slight their way. I don't think it was that. But just understanding what was said and the guy who took offense to it, I could see how the guy whose system it is that it was basically being deemed as like, oh, I already knew everything. Like, it just kind of is implying like, and it really could be implying that Ty is so smart that he was able to figure it out. It was when he compared it to like, in the SEC, they do a lot of, complex coverages and stuff like that. I just think the dude just naturally just heard that as, oh, he's shitting on my defense. Or, oh, he's saying like our defense isn't very complex or it's not whatever. And to be fair, if you do think of it and you go, well, if it's not, if they weren't doing a whole bunch and we were held to 3 points and whatever all those stats were ended up being at the end of the game. I mean, yeah, I guess you can say that that's technically a compliment, but yeah, I don't know. It depends on the ear that's hearing it. But I don't know. Like I said, man, I'm this type of person, man. Give respect where respect is due. They whooped our ass. So if Indiana fans want to sit on Twitter and puff their chest out, as annoying as it might be, I mean, tell somebody to stop them. Not that, like them tweeting, but I'm saying like this upcoming football season, man, let's just hope we get a rematch, run it back. Just like in Clemson, or when we lost to Clemson in 2016, like, man, like we wanted our get back. Now, we're clearly not in the same conference. Oh, by the way, before we move further, man, if you guys haven't, man, hit that like button. I always forget. I think we're at like 38 likes. Of course, I knew we'd get 1 dislike. People don't like to hear the truth. That's okay. But let's see if we can get up to like 50 likes before we get out of here. And if you guys are watching on X, because we got a boatload of people on X, feel free to go follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube. Actually, not even feel free. I encourage you guys to do it. If you enjoy this, we post extra clips over there. We'll start doing even more. And it helps us out. We're on the road to 5K. I don't even know what we're at right now, but we're getting close. The goal was to get to 5K before the end of the year. No, not end of the year, before the end of May. I'm sorry. And we are at, let's see, we're at 4649. So we're slowly climbing. So for all you guys listening on X, there's like 200 and something people or whatever it was at. I don't know where it's at right. I think 200 and something. If you have a YouTube channel, go to YouTube now or when we finish, man, and just hit that subscribe button. It helps what we're doing over here. I promise the more people that are on our YouTube platform, the better the product is because there's more people in the chats interacting and all that stuff. And definitely if you like breakdowns, we do more breakdown stuff over there. I'm trying to think of what else. When we get close to the season, we'll have more like former guys on here breaking some stuff down too, like Slade. I've been talking with like Josh McMillan. We're going to start having him jump on here and we'll yeah, listen, it's funny because we'll have like a couple of days where like we always get like 1 dislike. I shouldn't even get let me do that. I shouldn't even give it attention because it's probably just going to just encourage other haters to do that. But it's probably one person that's just trying to do something to be spiteful or something. I don't know. Or it also could be people just upset that I kind of was defending Indiana's side of this whole thing. I wouldn't call it defending it. I just would give my honest opinion on it. But, oh, yeah, Terrell, thank you so much, man. Personally think 2018 Clemson loss was worse than Indiana. Oh, you lost your mind. Come on, man. No, heck no. 2018 was the greatest ever. They dog walked us. Listen, well, I definitely appreciate the compliment. I mean, I was a member of that team and I was voted one of the team captains. But come on, man. We can't do that, though. 38-3. Do you think 38-3 wasn't as bad? I don't even remember the final score of the Clemson game, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if I would say that. I know that's what I'm saying, Mario. It's the funniest thing. I'm like, people have to, yeah, it's hard enough to get people just to hit a like button, but for somebody to go out their way and click dislike, like, you really must not have anything else to do, man. But yeah, you'd be surprised. There's some people online that you see that they say stuff that just like, man, they're not all the way there. We had a national championship on the line with undefeated season loss, 44-16. I still can't. Oh man, I don't think. No, I don't think it was as bad. I got to go back and watch how that game went though. Again, I couldn't play because of my hamstring. And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Ty 100.9, 1230 WTVC. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. So hold on, man. Let me just ask this question real quick before we get to the phone lines, Chase, because I see that is it Phrase? I think Phrase, maybe it's short for Frazier. They brought up my last college football game, which was 2018 against Clemson National Championship, San Fran. We got, listen, I'm going to be straight up. We got our tails whooped. I don't even remember the final score. 44-16 it was. Again, I had to watch it from the sideline. I tried to do everything in my power to play, couldn't play. Rest was history, man. You know, we got whooped. There's no denying that. But Phrase says he thought or thinks that loss was worse than the Indiana loss. 38-3 in what was it, like a quarterfinal game, I think it would be called, a quarterfinal. We lost Indiana. Or a national championship game, 44-16. I mean, it depends on who you have. Personally, I don't know. I had to go back and I don't even, when I tell you I kind of block out that game, like I don't even really remember exactly how it went. I just know our secondary had terrible eye discipline. Justin Ross went off. Tua had a number of turnovers. It was a tough game. I remember the main points. And the freshman Trevor Lawrence was, man, he was lights out. So it definitely was a beatdown. And then in the national championship game, it definitely was embarrassing. No denying that. But I don't know if I would say, like, I feel like Indiana was just like, we got physically dominated to the point where it was just like, I feel like when we lost to Clemson, I'm not making excuses. You guys know I'll call a spade a spade. We got our ass whooped. But I feel like that game was more so turnovers. We were throwing, like Tua had a bad game. Our secondary played with bad eyes. It didn't feel like we were just getting like physically dominated like we got against Indiana. Does that make sense? That's why I'm looking at that aspect. I could be wrong. I might need to go back and watch that Clemson game and maybe physically we did get dominated. I don't remember us really getting physically dominated like that. It felt more like we were making uncharacteristic mistakes and they also were doing some good stuff. All right, let's go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Rick up next. Rick, welcome in. Rick, you there? I feel like I can hear him, Chase, but maybe he's not there anymore. Is it Rick from Birmingham or is it Nick? I'm sorry, we got Nick.
Nick, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go, Nick. I'm sorry, man. I read that wrong. Listen, my vision's not the greatest anymore. I'm sorry. I read it as Rick. I'm like, wait, is Rick there? All right, Nick, I'm sorry. It's my guy, Nick. What's up, Nick?
I know. Yeah. This is Nick from YouTube, man. I was talking to Chase. I was thanking him for all his hard work he puts in, what he does with the coach. But, you know, there's this discussion about Indiana and Ty, and I couldn't disagree more with, I can't think of his name earlier, you know, that Ty sounded bitter.
Oh,
I think Ty, you're bitter. Yeah, I don't think a coach should be worried about what a guy going to the NFL draft. Now, if it was a player, I don't know. He should be worried about this season and getting his people in and everything like that. You just won a national championship. Okay, it isn't the first time Alabama's been beaten in the playoff. I can accept it. What I can't accept, what DeBoer has got to fix is these blowouts. I don't. That's something I want to be. I'm being patient with him. I love DeBoer. I really think he's gonna. I think he's gonna do good at Alabama, but he's got to fix these blowouts. I saw players giving up in the Indiana game. I know everybody saw it. You know, the defense was just. I mean, they could only hold them for so long. The offense couldn't move the ball, but you know, it is what it is. It was, but I stay out of it. I'm type Alabama fan. We got beat. We got dominated. It's the first time I've seen it like that. We couldn't even score a touchdown. Then, you know, the Georgia thing, I kind of feel like Alabama was hurt in that game and had a lot of players injured. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the tight ends? You know, we got some good tight ends, but it seemed like during A-Day they were having some trouble blocking.
Yeah, and listen, I like our tight ends. I like Josh Ford, transfer from Oklahoma State. I look at Caleb Edwards and guys like Marshall Pritchett. You already know that they're not going to be probably the most physically empowering guys when it comes to blocking. That's just not necessarily their skill set. I think there's room for improvement. I mean, I look at Caleb Edwards. I mean, he's 6'6". He's the same size as Josh Ford. He's 6'6", like 268, right? I mean, he's a big guy.
Right.
Granted, you know, he has a lot of upside when it comes to, you know, the passing game, but I think if you can work with him, now he might not be the most physical guy. Some guys aren't very physical, especially the tight end position. But with his size, if you can work with him from a technical standpoint, I think he can give you enough. So I think it's still early. They got a new coach that they've worked with this spring. They'll get better. But I like the group. I think it consists of a number of players that have good size, good length, guys that can definitely make an impact in the passing game. And I think they just need to keep improving, like you mentioned, with their run blocking because we know how important that is. But I think you've got to be patient with them, but I like what I saw of them. Josh Ford had a really good spring, and that helps make up for having a couple other guys that aren't best, a little bit more pass catching tight ends. Having a guy like Josh Ford would be very big. And I mean, you still have Danny Lewis, who I don't know his status. I know he's been out a lot of his career, but he's a player that when he is healthy, he's a big physical guy that can also help out in that room.
Well, I look at Josh Edwards not Josh Edwards, but Caleb Edwards is like a feature like Plavis was and stuff like that. He's a good ball catcher, but he's not the best He's not the best blocker. Josh Ford is definitely supposed to be the best blocking tight end, but he can catch the ball. Mm-hmm. But for the Alabama fans out there, I think we keep it real. We know the dynasty's over. We're not the standard no more. Nobody's the standard because every year it's somebody different. We're blue bloods. I think we're blue bloods.
No, I respect that.
And I really believe, Alabama can win a national championship. I don't know this year, but I think definitely he retains these players. I think next year, could be a great year. Like you said, this schedule is hard, but it wasn't as hard as last year. It don't seem like. But definitely.
We'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see, Nick, because I mean, on one end it doesn't feel as hard, but then I could see a world where it definitely could be more challenging, depending on how some of these teams end up being. When time will tell. Nick, we got to hit this timeout, man. I appreciate you so much for calling, man. Always good speaking with you, and thank you so much for always supporting us, man.
All right, man. You take care, Christian.
Yes, sir. You too, Nick. Thank you so much. All right, that'll do it for us on this Monday edition. We got to get out of here. You got Wyatt coming up next. This has been a fun one. Big thanks to everybody who made it possible. We'll be back tomorrow for Talking Tuesday with Clint Lamb right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily. WTBC Tuscaloosa and
Chase, appreciate you guys, man. Let's see. All right. Should we watch some of this tape or should we get out of here, guys? I plan on getting out of here after the show, but I guess we could watch a couple plays. I say that, but by the time I do that, we're going to sit here for a whole nother hour. Roll Tide, phrase. Yeah, no, I appreciate you calling in, man. Cutie, thank you so much, bro. It's depressing. No, I'm not watching it from that aspect. I was watching just to show you guys some of the stuff Indiana does on defense, but it sounds like you guys are tired of watching, so we ain't got to pull it up. We ain't got to pull it up. I was just going to kind of break down kind of what Indiana was doing. Oh, some of y'all want to see it? I'll show a couple little things. But this is what I mean by it's just not like just base stuff, or it's not it's a simple thing like some people might put it. But like, for example, this is play number 1, right? We motion the doubles, right? They're plugging a backer right here. On the back half, they're playing it for us, middle of the field close. So it's basically cover 3. But it looks like they're playing like with the match principle here. So they match all these routes. I mean, so there's literally nowhere to go with the ball, right? Normally in cover 3, this guy will be, buzzing to the flat. But you see what he's doing. He's really kind of matching this pattern here, right? Who is this? Pons or no, it's not Pons, the other corner. But doing a nice job, right? And he feels that, right? There's nothing threatening him. He's a third player, but there's nothing really threatening him. So he ends up, they get into scramble drill. I mean, just really nice execution, like Ty said. But really, you see this guy playing off like that, and you see his middle of the field close pre-snap. I mean, it's a good indicator you're probably getting, unless you're thinking this could be cover 1, but you wouldn't expect this guy being off like that in cover 1, right? So really, I get it. This is a hard throw to make. You're talking about throwing all the way across the field. That's very dangerous, especially this guy puts his foot in the ground. That could be trouble, but nowhere to go with the ball, man. Again, it's basically like a formula. It looks like cover 3 with like match principles here. You see all these guys matching these patterns. And then, of course, when it turns into scramble drill, really nice job plastering their defenders. Just nowhere to go. Let's see what they're working up front from the tight. And they're doing this out of a 3-4 defense, mind you, right? Which they're playing base against 11 personnel, which I know you hear me talk about all the time. You don't typically do stuff like that. But this is another reason why, I respect what they do. Like, they're playing base defense against 11 personnel. We got some good skill players. I mean, that's Ryan Williams. You got Horton. You got Bernard. They got Daniel Hill split out, basically an empty look. But then Cuevas. But they're playing base 3-4 defense, right? They got a tight front with the defensive line. They got 2 outside backers in here, and they're playing basically match cover 3, which is, again, against 11 personnel. I mean, that tells me, they got confidence in these outside backers. And 46, I was impressed with him. I watched him against Oregon, play in space. I'm like, damn, dude, like when you got outside backers like that, which he's great coming on, blitzes. I don't know about like just a true designated pass rusher, but just see him bring pressure kind of off the edge. He's very effective. But then just seeing him cover, really good athlete, man. But see, like little stuff like this, I mean, you just don't know where it's coming from. They're bringing the inside backer right here, dropping both outside backers. And again, basically matching patterns. That's damn good defense, man. Nowhere to go. Nice contained by the edge rusher right here. Get his hands up. Right? So looping for contain. He's basically going crossing face to the B gap here. Backers coming through that B gap. There's nowhere to go. But so there you go. So that one, I'll call that some type of like match cover 3. See play 2. Pre-snap, they're showing split safety coverage, middle of the field open. Right, you get motion. You see the safeties, slingshot. He's coming down. Now, see, and this is a good play call, right? This is probably a good example of us knowing, kind of having an idea on what they do. This guy's playing so far off. They give up a lot of these hitches the way they do play. Like they'll play either cornerbacks like locked, or they're playing some type of cloud coverage. But then on the other side, they'll play off like this, and you can sneak these in there, right? Which I think this is what led to that pick 6 from Oregon to start the game, because I think Oregon probably watched this, because they did give, if you watch Indiana, they'll give up a good bit of hitches like this. I think Oregon was probably thinking that quick RPO, trying to hit a quick hitch like that. And I had to go back and watch it specifically, but they played it perfect. It ended up being a pick 6, but trying to see exactly what we have here. It's hard to tell because this is kind of like a RPO option from us. And it's hard to tell if guys are blitzing or what they would actually be in coverage, because they're reacting as if it's run. So it's a little hard for me to tell. I do know it's getting to middle of the field close just by that rotation there. So very much could be another cover 3 defense here. He's just reacting, right? So we'll sum this one up. I'm not 100% sure given the way the defense reacts, but we'll move on. Again, I'm just trying to show you guys really the coverage aspect of kind of what they do. We got a doubles formation here. I think we run the ball. No. Pre-snap, they got middle of the field open. But then you see post-snap, right? I mean, this is, again, another form of what? Cover 3. So that's why I said, like, on one point, Ty's not wrong in terms of they do pretty much a lot of the same. They run just a bunch of cover 3, but you'll see that they get to it a number of different ways. And really, the biggest difference is you see, like, up front, like, where they're bringing different pressure from, right? Like, that changes up a lot. Kind of comes from all over the place. But this is, again, cover 3 again, right? Or actually, you know what? This might be a fire zone coverage. Wait, how many guys do they bring? Which fire zone guys? Only different. Fire zone is basically 3 deep, 3 underneath, right? That would be fire zone coverage. And a lot of times people like to play some match underneath in fire zone coverage, but you run that when you're running the pressure. But again, I think they only brought 4. Wait, how many? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. Oh yeah, sorry. He was blending in with that red. I didn't count him. Yeah. So they only brought 4. Man, we didn't run the ball at all to start this game off. Bama got a new center. You're talking about basketball. Just didn't seem to have any intensity. Yeah, I agree with that. P and 10. We got play action here. Hold on, let me move this because I can't see. I got this thing on my screen that I can't. It's like blocking. Wait, why can I not move this thing out the way? All right, there we go. If I miss this here now, of course, pressure doesn't help, but look like he initially. Now, I don't know what his reads are. It looks like he initially looks out there first, but that's where to go on that. Let's see what happened in the protection. Get beat on the inside move. They're running the game too. Kind of a delayed game. This tackle selling across, unless he just naturally feels that out. A really nice job. Like I said, it's just a good defense. I'm not gonna waste too much time on this now. I don't want to risk our YouTube channel getting in trouble, but I just wanted to show you, as you guys saw, I mean, a lot of it, just even from the first series or so, whenever, maybe that was 2 series, I don't even know. You do see a lot of cover 3, but as you see they're getting to it a number of different ways. I mean, I can even show you. Let me see. They got one where they're playing like more of a cloud cover 3. That's a run. It's a run. Let me see. Again, it's another form of cover 3, but you see how they're matching these things. So, yeah, they basically a lot of cover 3, but they get to it a number of different ways. Which one you say was cover 2? That last clip? Is that one you're talking about? Which one were you referring to? This? No, this one's not. Maybe you're talking about the play before. This is another form of cover 3. I just think this guy's just driving on this ball, but you got a third player. He's a third player, and he should be a third player, but I think he's just diagnosing kind of what's in front of him, driving on that. Cover 3 match, fire back, or switch other pressure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. Then you'll see some cloud in there. I'm trying to show an example of cloud so people can see that what the difference of like cover 3 cloud is. It's a nice simulated pressure that they just ran here. All right, simulated pressures means they're showing like they're blitzing a bunch of guys, end up wanting to bring in 4. This guy ends up unblocked. Some type of miscommunication here. I mean, we literally have 2 guys blocking nobody while this guy just, fires off the edge. Well, technically 3, I mean, even though he's working across, but to be fair, I would just say 2. Like this would be a form of cloud, right? You see how this corner is working that flat? I wish I had this on the thing where I could draw, but he's going to squat on this flat. He's working that third now. He's working this middle third, and he's the third player. Pawns down at the bottom. So this is what I mean by 3 clouds. So it's still cover 3, but it just is a different form of it. Basically just swapping responsibilities right here. The corner is now flat player up top. And they get to it out of a simulated pressure. So, I mean, curl flat player, defensive tackles, hook, curl flat, deep third, and deep third. So that would be cover 3 cloud with a simulated pressure. But really good stuff there. That's why I wanted to be clear. Like, if you just say, oh, they run a lot of cover 3, they just do the same thing. That's one way of putting it. But then when you turn on the tape and you see all the different pressures that they're throwing at you, and they mix it up, and different guys are doing different things, like, I could see how somebody could be like, man, that's low key kind of taken away from a lot of the good that we did. I mean, when I say we, I'm speaking on like Indiana's behalf. I mean, even just look at the front, like, I mean, just physically dominating us up front, nowhere to go. I mean, every single one of our offensive linemen getting knocked back off the football. Nowhere to go. See, like, this looks like another form of cloud coverage. Wait, we're down distance. So maybe on 2nd and 11. Again, just nice job, man. Popping out. They're matching things underneath. There's just nowhere to go, man. There's really nowhere to go with the football, man. I think that's why the dude felt a little slighted, because it kind of gave the impression as if they don't really do much. And they do a lot of different things with their defense and really good stuff. Kind of reminds me of how Oklahoma plays us, or plays defense, but it kind of reminds me of what you see out of Oklahoma. A lot of guys mugging, a lot of guys popping out, taking away the underneaths. Jimmy Smith, Jaguars Hall of Famer, is going to be. Yeah, I'll check it out, man. It's tonight? Got cover 3 cloud again, right? See this corner? He's squatting. He's in cloud, third. They still end up hitting on the cloud corner side. This is more quarters coverage I see here, right? They're in quarters. So you can see, I mean, literally majority of these snaps, they pretty much are playing cover 3. I think that was the first time we've seen quarters. All right, there it goes. Cover 3 again. Or that might be fire zone coverage. It looks like they brought a pressure. Maybe not. It's either 3 or fire zone. So they're playing quarters again here. So that would be what? Two quarters coverages, I think, that I've counted. I don't even know how many. I should have been counting all the pass plays. But again, I still would say probably like almost 60, 70% of the snaps have been cover 3. Looks like we got like maybe 2 times they played quarters. Cover 3. Running the ball. Got empty. Cover 3. Great play by Pons. I like Pons. This looks more like fire zone coverage here. And I think this is all she wrote for Ty. Yeah. Which this is cover 2 here, right? I think he's just playing this with great depth because nothing's threatening his flat, right? Trying to help protect the safety. Got a cover 2 corner down there. Ty scrambles. And that's when the injury happens there. So anyway, I say all that to say, literally majority of the snaps were cover 3, in fact. But got to it a number of ways. A lot of different pressures that we saw. Bringing backers, safeties, mixing up cloud. I think there was one that was sky, a couple quarters, and then a couple of those fire zones on some of those pressures. But yeah. But as you can see, I mean, they play damn good defense, man. So yeah, well, they like cover 3 a lot, but it looks different on a number of different snaps. Being one-dimensional didn't help. No, that doesn't help. But I guess all I'm saying is, like, I mean, I just don't think we had them figured out. Maybe like Ty or even maybe the staff maybe thought they did. I think it just felt like we kind of overlooked this team. I mean, because if it was that simple, just saying, oh, well, they like to run a lot of cover 3. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can beat cover 3. I mean, if it was that easy, I feel like we would have more success. But it also didn't help that up front, we didn't really have an answer. Their defensive line and really their whole front 7, because they bring a lot of pressure. It was too much. It was way too much to handle. But anyway, just wanted to show you guys that. I know you don't like watching that tape, but it was relevant for the whole thing we're talking about today. That being said, if you haven't already, man, on the way out, hit that like button, even though I know you guys don't like that tape. Just hit that like button. That helps us out. We'll keep watching some more tape. We got Clint Lamb joining us tomorrow at the top of the hour. We'll cover Crimson. We'll keep on rolling. We'll talk some NFL draft. We got that coming up. And I'm going to go let this dog out so he'll relax. And that being said, appreciate you guys as always, man. Seriously, thank you guys always for hanging out. It's always good being here with you guys. Always enjoy it. And you guys know the drill. We'll see you guys tomorrow.